Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. Entry-level jobs are really not that entry level anymore. Some companies actually require loads of experience just to get in on the ground level. So how is this actually affecting the market? Well, here joining us to talk more about it is Tim Paradis. He's Future of Work correspondent for Business Insider. It seems like a catch-22. I want experience so I can get a job, but I can't get experience because I don't have a job. Tim, why are many entry-level tech roles now requiring actually multiple years of experience?
Well, the short answer is because they can. You've got some people in various industries, particularly like tech, where they've got enough people out of work that it's easy for companies to say, look, if you want to come work here, even at this kind of lower rung type job, we're going to ask that you have already been able to do a lot of these things had these things on your resume.
And how has that shift really affected recent graduates that are actually entering into the job market?
Yeah, it has. And so some of the recent grads I've spoken to have talked about, again, particularly in an area like tech, have talked about the difficulty in finding work because they're out there competing against people who might have several years of experience. And as you know, there's always that catch-22 when you're starting out. If a company says, well, I want some experience, but if you don't have it yet, how do you get it? So it's a tough needle for some people starting out in their career to thread.
I could see just that. And let's talk about some of the skills and even the qualifications that these hiring managers that they're prioritizing for those entry-level tech roles. What are they?
So in tech and even beyond, a lot of, in tech, there are specific things like, do you know this coding language, or do you know enough about AI, things like that. But then even more broadly, a lot of employers are asking that entry-level workers have what you might expect, things like solid communication skills, ability to manage their workflow, things like that. But it's again, it's tough if you haven't had a lot of time in the job market to really burnish those skills.
Makes a lot of sense. And is there any justifications that these companies have to really show that increasing experience requirements for these entry-level positions is a good call?
I guess they would argue that, the demands upon the workforce because of the fast changing pace of technology are greater than ever. So they may say, look, we need someone at this even lower level to be able to have a greater level of skills to bring to the table. But again, it may leave some people just starting out kind of shortchanged.
Diversity is such a big role when it comes to hiring people. What kind of impact did this trend actually have on the diversity of candidates in the tech industry, maybe even particularly for the underrepresented groups who may actually lack traditional experience, but they do have relevant skills?
Well, it's hard to say. I haven't seen a ton of great data on this, but certainly it poses a challenge. I think you could say safely that if there are fewer opportunities and people who might already have some experience or be better connected would have a better shot at these jobs, then you can certainly see a scenario where people would be, from these groups, these backgrounds might be further not represented well in the hiring.
All right, so this is what people are really wanting, advice. What advice would you give maybe to aspiring tech professionals that are really struggling to get a job? What would you say to them?
Well, the advice that from the recruiters I speak to, that I get is kind of the age-old stuff, like make sure you're networking, make sure everything, of course, is polished on your resume and all that, apply to jobs quickly as soon as they come out. But it really does come back to sort of networking. And particularly if you're in a, so you're just graduating and you're trying to get that first job, look to your school, look to your university for whatever, either, externship type things they might have, or just relationships that they have with alums at various companies, or just anything you can do to try to get a little bit of experience. And then the other thing is point to relevant things that you've done, even if you had a part-time job or things like that. Some of those skills are transferable to a professional workplace. So it's definitely worth talking about those things.
Yeah, sell the sizzle, not the steak sometimes. Good advice. For more information on how you can score an entry-level job in tech, head on over to businessinsider.com.